Good evening, race fans, and welcome to 2022. We are back here with Doghouse Racing League once again for the Thursday night Next Gen Cup Series for the Daytona 100 to kick things off here for 2022. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing you tonight's action in 1080p 60 frames a second. I hope that you all are excited for tonight's action. I know that I certainly am. If you were here for some of the racing that we saw last year in 2021, just at the tail end of these guys' season here, you will have seen some pretty excellent side-by-side racing and just in general some talented driving and drivers throughout this series, as currently drivers are actually making their qualifying laps as we currently speak, and it would appear that most of our drivers here have already completed their qualifying lap if they chose to do so here, with only roughly a minute left to go here before we kick things off for the first round. The Doghouse Racing League Next Gen Cup Thursday Night Series 2022 Season 1. Now, this will be my first broadcast back here as well, coming into 2022, so I'm looking forward to the action here tonight, as well as being back in the booth and chatting with all of you folks here yet again, and I hope to see some great action from all of these drivers here, and I hope that we get to see some of that as well for everyone watching at home, as drivers are still just waiting for that time to tick on by. We are going to watch Wesley Whitfield in the 07 machine makes his attempts. His few lap attempts, but that is going to be it for qualifying. We have our grid to show for tonight. And here is our qualifying results. Doug Solms leading it out in first place. Andrew Pratt in second. Jonathan Jennings in third. Eric Peck in fourth. Andrew St. Cor. And actually, we are doing this slightly the incorrect way here, but that is... Here we are. That's correct. It's been a little bit, if you can't tell. And Eric Peck in fourth place. Andrew Cor in fifth. Adam Gardner in 6th, Kevin Thompson in 7th, Randall Barnett in 8th place, Wesley Whitfield in 9th, Daniel Wilkerson in 10th place, Leander Johnson in 11th. We have Michael Schemia in 12th place, Darrell Whiteside in 13th, Justin McMahon in 14th, Jeff Martin in 15th, Dustin Lee in 16th, Michael Bowen in 17th, Nick Reynolds in 18th, Kirk Schweitzer in 19th, Donald Leftwich in 20th, Christopher Leftwich in 21st, and Teddy Wisniewski in 22nd. And I believe that is going to round out our grid here for today, and it is. So we are going to be racing here very, very shortly for the very first race here of 2022 here with Doghouse Racing League in the Next Gen Cup. Now, as I alluded to before as well, if you were here for last season, we saw some excellent racing between all of the drivers present here, leading out in the front of the field with Doug Solms, Andrew Pratt, Eric Peck, Jonathan Jennings. All four of these drivers we saw competing very strongly in the last season, as drivers make their first lap around Daytona here. The Daytona 100, 40 laps here around the track that we are going to make. Okay, with Daytona being one of the longest oval tracks here in America, these laps won't exactly tick on by, but it will give drivers opportunities to really see how their, I don't want to say long run strategies are, or long run games are, but I would like to say that it gives these drivers an opportunity to not let go of the throttle and really depend on your line work. Finding a spot in the track where you're going to have the most grip, the most speed, and be able to keep out in front of the driver behind you, and also be defensive. That is going to be key here on a track like Daytona. As our pace car rides down pit road, the drivers will see that green flag fly, and we are racing here, folks, for the very first time in 2022 with Doghouse Racing League. Andrew Pratt, Doug Solms, both side by side with Doug Solms down on the inside. You can see Andrew Pratt out on that outside line trying to keep up with the 67 of Doug Solms, but Doug slowly inching away from that 75 machine as he has Jonathan Jennings just behind him as well in the number 95. Eric Peck right behind that 75 of Andrew Pratt as well, giving that bump draft. All of these guys and doing very impressive work. This line work that these guys are putting on here for everyone right now, it's absolutely impressive. These folks, these guys are able, you can see there the 61 of Eric Peck just getting on the bumper there of Andrew Pratt, not letting up at all, only just to give Andrew Pratt enough room to not spin out. Absolutely fantastic work there that we're seeing from Eric Peck in that number 61 machine. We'll even try and see if we can hop on board here with Eric Peck just to give you an idea of exactly what in the world is going on here in that car. See just how close and how loud all of these guys are on the throttle, not letting up at all into these banks, and these banks are extremely deep. Some people say that it's even almost impossible to walk up them at times because of how steep the angle is on some of these banks, but it's perfect for racing like this, getting side by side with one another, going 160, 170, 80 miles an hour. Currently, we're looking at speeds of 180 to 190 plus, especially in these drafts here as well. Fantastic work from all of these drivers here that we are seeing. I'll put on the display here today. Eric Peck still on that bumper of the 75, but we also have a new leader here. Well, not a leader, but it seems like we've had a little bit of a shakeup here with the top line. You can see Eric Peck has fallen down quite significantly with Andrew Pratt still in front of him. In that field, they're just dropping like flies at this point in time. Oh man. Not exactly sure what happened. They might have just found themselves outside of that draft, and you can see the train of cars that we have here lined up. Bumper to bumper practically, the 95 of Jonathan Jennings right on that bumper of the 67 of Doug Solms. This guy's doing absolutely fantastic work here, trying to race as close to one another as you possibly can, and on tracks like Daytona, once the driver in front of you starts to get away even just a little bit, it can be quite the challenge to catch up unless you have support, help behind you that is willing to help you get the track. Now, right now, as we can see, Doug Solms he's kind of lucky at this point in time in the sense that he doesn't have people attacking him on his outside or his inside or anything like that. He will eventually. That's definitely not out of the question. It's only lap 5 of 40. Now, these guys also only have 50% fuel. And that's going to be key to remember here because this is a very long track. There's a lot of distance that they have to cover, and that's going to consume quite a bit of fuel. They will have to come down pit road to get just enough fuel to finish the race here, if my math is correct. Now, with that in mind, you can see things shake up in the front of the field just with that factor alone. However, as we're keep watching as we're continuing to watch these guys. You can kind of see the rubber band effect starting to happen, the accordion effect, whatever you want to call it, where drivers start to get a little bit farther away from each other and then they get really close, just like that right there on your screen. That'll start to happen after a certain period of time, and I'm surprised to see it happening this early on, even with these drivers, with the caliber that we have. These guys are definitely very talented in what they do. Doug Solms is definitely having a great time leading this field, and we have battles happening. Looks like the 32 of Leander Johnson wanting to get some action developing here in the top 10. The 32 actually looks like he has some damage to that driver's side panel as well. Must have been involved in an incident, but I can't exactly see in timing where that might have potentially happened. I couldn't exactly say for certain. At this point in time, we are on lap 8 of 40. These are looking to be quite impressive at this point in time. For all of these drivers, we have seen a little bit of competition here and there. We can start to see the 63 of Randall Barnett start to attack on the outside line. Not really going to get him too far up, but as he starts to put that pressure on the drivers around him, everyone else is going, well, some drivers are going to follow suit. They're going to want to do the same exact thing and be up there with the guys competing who are trying to work their way up into the top 5 or even the top 3, depending on which driver you are and which driver you want to talk to. But otherwise, thus far, the race is looking relatively tame as far as incidents are going. Everyone is racing fairly cleanly, and even as I say that, Randall Barnett getting a little bit into the wall there, coming into turn, I believe that was turn 3, coming out of turn 4 now onto the front stretch. And just those little mistakes alone, I don't think are enough to really say that these guys are doing anything bad at this point. Everyone is doing so well that ultimately the mistakes that we're seeing are just pressure being put on these guys. It's very, very difficult to be in a group like this, be in a pack where everyone is just racing bumper to bumper, side by side, and not make mistakes. It's very challenging. It's not everyone can do it, and some drivers just happen to find themselves out of that groove, and all it takes is one mistake. It doesn't even mean that they're having a bad race or what have you. All it takes is just one mistake to cost you your race, and we have drivers piling up in the back of the field. Dustin Lee making his way through that, but there is carnage. Drivers all over the place. We can see Donald Leftwich in the number 60 machine that we're currently locked onto, involved in that incident. Let's see if we can get a quick look at what exactly happened here. We're going to back that up here just a little bit as well, just to see, because it looks like the 63, Randall Barnett, just getting sideways through the grass. Right as I was talking about how everything was looking relatively calm too. We'll just ignore that though. All right, so starting the... All right, so looks like the 63... Randall Barnett getting involved with either, I think that's Leander Johnson. That is Leander Johnson getting involved with Randall Barnett. They're sending him sideways into the middle of the track. Randall trying to do everything he can to correct it. Eventually does, but the field just does not have time to react and slow down and managed to actually collect 3, 5, 6 cars in that incident. Yeah, that is that is very unfortunate to see. And that's all. That's, like I said, folks, that's all it takes. That is all it takes for an incident like that to happen. And it could be anything. It truly can. It could be from anything. So as this is our first caution of the day here tonight. We're going to have some drivers actually making their way down into pit road. A large chunk of the field is going to as well. So, and I believe that's going to be because they are going to want to top off on fuel just to finish the race and allow themselves to just push on through without having to stop later on. This is the perfect opportunity to do so for a lot of these drivers, so I can understand why some of these guys would want to do so at a time like this. But currently looking at the field, looking at the grid and how things are shaping up to be at the moment, we have Doug Soames out in first place still, Andrew Corr in second, Kevin Thompson in third, rounding out the top 3, Michael Schemia in fourth, Eric Peck in fifth to round out the top 5 of the drivers here tonight. And it looks like we're going to be restarting here single file as well. Which, if you are the driver in second place, it's, well, not exactly the best chance that you get at getting an overtake, but it definitely allows you to try and stay as close as possible to make that overtake possible later on in the future. Or even if you're feeling a little brave and have a little skill up your sleeve, you might be able to make it happen sooner on, but it can be quite the challenge for some drivers. And the lights are actually off on the pace car as well. So this will be our final time around the track before we see that pace car come down pit road one more time. And it looks like I was wrong about that one. I apologize for that. And there we finally go. The green flag flies here once again, and Doug Soames taking off on the field here. We can see Andrew Corr trying to make what he possibly can of it. Michael Schemia in that number 1 machine on the outside line in third place currently. Not going to be able to quite hold on to it as that outside line doesn't seem, well, middle to outline, I should say, doesn't really seem to be working for him quite well. You can see there the 75 of Andrew Pratt actually deciding to drop down at the last second, seemingly, to get around, well, to stay in the faster lane and avoid being caught on the outside where you don't necessarily want to be in that situation. But so far, everyone getting themselves back into the groove of things. We have a driver that is wanting to get back down into that middle lane. You can see, I believe that is Andrew Pratt trying to work his... That is actually not Andrew Pratt. That is Jeff Martin in the 22 on the outside line of Andrew, trying to find his way back into... back down into that lower groove where everyone else seems to be a little bit faster, but we have a 3-car train forming down on the outside as well. So we'll see if anyone else decides to join them, make them a little bit faster, and hopefully catch up to the guys leading out in front. But everyone doing a great job maintaining their lane, staying where they need to be, not getting all over the place. You don't really see a whole lot of wobble from these guys that you normally would if you were a normal user of iRacing and have ever done an ARCA race or any sort of oval race and anything under, I would say, B class. You will know exactly what I'm talking about. Otherwise, well, just be thankful that you don't. But here, that is not an issue. These guys, as I've said multiple times in both this broadcast and all the broadcasts before, these guys are extremely talented. They know what they're doing. And I don't think they would let anyone that didn't race with them. That is their choice. For these guys, I think that is the right choice because of the caliber of drivers that we have here. It only makes sense, I would have to say. We actually have drivers making their way into the pit road as well. Christopher Leftwich actually making his way down into pit road. Unsure what the reasoning is behind that at this point in time, but I am certain that it is... I'm certain that it is for a good reason. I can't imagine that you would be coming down pit road, well, really for any bad reason. But even as I say that, a lot of these guys here are still going to be playing on that possible pit strategy game, but I don't really see it happening since most of the field here has come down pit road already. Name a few drivers that haven't. Doug Solms and Andrew Corer, Kevin Thompson, Eric Peck. 4 drivers that haven't made their way down pit road yet, as well as Michael Schemia in that number 1 machine, who's found his way down into 8th place currently. So there are still a few drivers that are looking to... Oh, and as I say that, we have practically the entire field making their way down into pit road, or at least the top drivers that we were expecting to come down pit road here. They actually did. They found their way down here, and here we are. So that switches things up here. Like I said it was going to. Jeff Martin is now leading this race here, but for how long is ultimately the question here. That is ultimately my question, as far as how long is he going to be able to stay out in front. Justin Martin is currently being chased and followed by Justin McMahon and Wesley Whitfield all in a line here, but Justin in that number 20 machine, he is itching to get around that 22 on that bumper very aggressively, trying to get as close as he can to break that draft and find a way around that 22. We'll see if he can make that happen here on this front stretch, or back stretch, excuse me. It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to, but in the turn, especially as we have lap traffic starting to become involved, some of these lines here. Right on the bottom there, too. Not optimal for some of these guys here. They also may prefer their lap drivers to stay on the bottom, but that would seem to be a strange call, in my opinion, but everyone's different. So, with that in mind, with the field kind of changing here just ever so slightly, it makes me wonder how the field is going to react and kind of how that's going to change the groove of some of these drivers here. Is there going to be some drivers that are going to say, hey, this is an opportunity that I'm not going to have again to make something happen here today, and especially for the first race going into 2022. Want to start things off with a bang, and that's definitely reasonable, I would have to say. So we'll have to keep paying attention and just really looking to see what these guys are going to do. I'm really looking at Justin McMahon right now as well. He's definitely eager to get into that first place position. How he's going to do it, well, that's a different question. Wesley Whitfield is also in that 07 machine, still very close to these guys as well. Really hasn't gotten much farther away. I think more or less is just kind of waiting for something to happen potentially here. But everyone's still doing an absolutely fantastic job here tonight. So Jeff Martin, Justin McMahon still leading out in the front of the field, with Wesley Whitfield still in third place as well. All of these drivers here doing exactly as they should. And with even the lap traffic being involved in some of these situations here as well, these drivers are handling it very, very well. We're not seeing a whole lot of battles developing between a lot of these guys as even lap traffic starts to come into play here. We can also see from the battle box down on the bottom right hand side of your screen just how close everyone is in relation to one another. You can see the battle for first happening right now on your screen. And I'm still impressed by the lap traffic getting out of the way as quickly as possible, not getting involved in these guys, not trying to be in their way. It's definitely can be hard to find sometimes. And looking at the track map as well at the top right hand side of your screen, you can see just how far the field is starting to spread out here in the distance that's being put between a lot of these guys, but everyone's still trying to stay as close to one another as they can. 15 laps left to go here as well. Time is ticking away ever so slowly. These guys are not going to have a whole lot of time left, and before they know it, it is going to be race over. So riding on board here with Wesley Whitfield, we can see and listen to just how aggressive the driving is here today from the guys here in the top three. Now, being that these guys are kind of found themselves newly into the top three here, it's kind of interesting to see, well, the difference in skill and style overall. These guys are nearly just as fast, if not faster, than the guys who were leading. Doug Solms, Andrew Pratt. Oh, excuse me. All of these drivers were doing incredibly well. And all it took was for the front of the field to come down pit road, and that's ultimately what cost them the position, so to speak. And you can hear, if you're still listening, absolutely no let up on the throttle in that 07 machine. So everyone doing an absolutely incredible job here today. And Joseph Penn in the chat wondering why he can't see the grandstands. That is my bad. I totally forgot about that while setting up everything on my old laptop here, but I will make sure that is squared away for next time. Things were kind of done a little impromptu today, given that my main machine is currently out to the count. But we have a caution out on track for an incident, I'm assuming, that happened, but I don't actually see. And here we go. We can actually see a little bit of the action here. The 63, Randall Barnett, involved in another incident again here tonight. Big carnage as these guys go into the wall. The 73 absolutely sending it over the wall. Or looked like he was going to send it over the wall. Able to keep it together, though. That is a nasty wreck from seemingly not anything that bad. That is definitely unfortunate. And that is actually the 78 of Daniel Wilkerson, excuse me. Who was involved in that incident as well. So, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate what we're seeing here tonight. Just a couple small things happening. Just every now and then. That's ultimately all it takes. Sean Thompson giving a shout out to Kevin Thompson in the number 21 machine as well. Kevin, who's currently found himself in 10th place at the moment. Coming out of pit road now, back out onto the field. Going to join up with the rest of the field here as everyone gets ready to start things off here once again. With everyone following behind the pace car. With 9 laps left to go here, we are going to be closer and closer to determining who will be our first winner of 2022 for Doghouse Racing League for the Next Gen Cup Thursday Night Series. Alrighty, folks, the green flag is going to fly here one more time. Justin McMahon and Jonathan Jennings going to be side by side here with 8 laps left to go here at Daytona for the Daytona 100. You can see Jonathan Jennings on the outside with Justin McMahon down low. He's got Jeff Martin, Wesley Whitfield right behind him. The whole field of drivers in tow right down on that bottom line. Everyone doing a fantastic job. You can see a couple drivers splitting off. Just one at the moment. Andrew Pratt in that number 75. Going to get right behind Jonathan Jennings in that 95. But they've already fallen down to 5th place all at this time. Justin McMahon doing an absolutely fantastic job staying out in front of this field here, warding off Jeff Martin in that 22 machine. Oh, things getting a little bit spicy here. Very close to one another. You can see a driver making their way down into pit road here as well. Uncertain what the cause of that is going to be for, but with 7 laps left to go, there is not a whole lot of time left for these guys to figure out what they got to do and where they need to be. It's all about driving and who is the fastest, and looks like Justin McMahon is actually starting to slowly get away from the rest of the field here, but only by inches. There is not going to be a lot of space left between these drivers once we cross the checkered line the final time. 6 laps left to go here. Everyone pushing themselves to the limits one final time. Well, rather 6 more times around the track before we see that checkered flag fly and these drivers walk away from this race. Only to come back for the next one, for another one here with Doghouse Racing League. And this field is aggressive. They want to get up there. Every single one of these guys is trying to do everything in their power to get to the front of the field here, and it is just not getting any easier anytime soon. And Justin McMahon is in the perfect spot to just let this thing ride, let it go through, and see what he can possibly do. That's all he has to do at this point in time. If we even take a ride up to the chopper, that we have, you can see just how close Jeff Martin is to that number 22. With Jeff Martin to the number 20 of Justin McMahon. Everyone getting super close to one another here today. Absolutely fantastic work here. Looking behind the number 20 of Justin McMahon, we can see even better just how close that 22 of Jeff Martin is getting. Just inching closer and closer with 4 laps left to go. And Wesley Whitfield also in 3rd place at this point in time. trying to keep up with the guys who are first and second, but he's got a little bit of competition developing around him. Dustin Lee, who's in 4th place at this point in time, trying to shake things up here potentially. He's looking down on that inside, trying to find a little bit of room to get around Wesley Whitfield. But Dustin is not going to really have any opportunities to do so. And even as I say that, we have Eric Peck now also starting to get into the mix of things in that 61 machine. He's got Andrew Pratt right behind him, getting on that bumper. These drivers absolutely close to one another. 2 laps left to go here before we see that checkered flag fly. Justin McMahon is going to look to take things home today for the first win of the 2022 season here with Doghouse Racing League. And right now, looks like Justin is going to take this one away, but anything can happen here in these final 2 laps. So I would not hold my breath for that moment, as we have Eric Peck in the 61 now starting to get on that outside, coming into turn 3, going to come out of turn 4. Where is he going to find himself? Eric Peck still on the grind, trying to get out into first place, and there he goes, right into first place, switching up the field right before our eyes. Andrew Pratt now in 2nd place as well, with Justin McMahon, who was leading this race for quite some time, falling back now in 2nd place, as we have a little bit of a fight happening here in the front of the field. Eric Peck getting himself away from and we have carnage ensuing right behind these guys in the back stretch, right on the entry coming out of turn 2. But it's not going to matter. This is the final lap. Who is going to take home the win for today for the Daytona 100? Andrew Pratt on the outside with Eric Peck down low, side by side. We are going to be 2 wide coming across the finish line. We have, oh my God, the whole field just killed itself. Oh no. Oh my God. Oh no. All right, folks, we're going to back things up here just for a momentary moment. And, oh, no. We are going to ride on board with Eric Peck and just witness the carnage that ensues here. Give the gyro cam a moment here to calibrate itself as we get ready for this. So as we're going. And there he goes. Eric Peck going sideways. And the rest of the field nowhere left to go. Everyone getting involved in that incident. I am absolutely shocked right now, folks. I am absolutely shocked. So things did not turn out the way that I expected them to. Your race results, our race results, are definitely not what I expected them to be. And I did not expect carnage to ensue on the final turn of the final lap. So our top 3 finishers for tonight: Justin McMahon finishing it out, taking home the win. In first place, Doug Solms in 2nd, and Andrew Corr in 3rd. We're going to move on to driver interviews now after an absolutely incredible first race here with Doghouse Racing League for 2022. We are going to get Mr. Andrew Corr into the booth. Andrew, sir, can you read me?
I got you. I got a copy.
Andrew, I was watching the whole front of the field do an incredible job this entire time. You were in the field doing exactly what you needed to, and it seemed like at the last moment, when you were, I believe it was about top 5, top 10, Everyone started to get passed a little bit by Eric Peck and a few other drivers as well, and all hope seemed to be lost. But then, at the final hour, carnage ensued, and you were able to take home third place. Andrew, what was going through your head when you saw everyone just starting to die in front of you?
Well, in fairness, it was probably started back in lap 38, 30, 39, just coming to the white flag. We were trying to work with I was trying to work with Eric and Andrew Pratt. We were, I think, 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6 in a line, and we were trying to time our run to go high. So I had a really good run, and I pulled the plug and I went out, and then I got hung out there, and I went back to the back of that pack essentially, and got into 10th place. And I actually thought that was going to be it, but I got a couple good runs coming to the white flag, and then again on the backstretch of that final lap to get out high behind I think it was Jennings, and then coming through almost to the tri-oval, I guess, to the line, I had another head of steam. So I decided to try to cut it up the middle. There's nothing to lose. If anything, I figured if we wrecked, I would wreck across the line, and essentially that's what happened. And I ended up getting pushed across the line by somebody. I'm not sure who it was, whether it was Martin or McMahon, but and then but it was a great race. We had a lot of fun. There was a few of us working together there. Got to call out my buddy there, Doug Soames, for getting the pole tonight. It's a pretty big honor for him. I know he's pretty excited about that, and we were just trying to keep pushing him there at the beginning until that caution, that first caution. And we were kind of hoping just to keep him there for a while and see what happened. But he brought home second, so we're pretty happy for him, and a good race for AK Racing. I think Kevin Thompson, Andrew Pratt, and we all finished in the top, I believe the top 10. I'm not sure, but yeah, so great race, a lot of fun, and that's pretty well it.
Absolutely, Andrew. Well, with that all in mind, going forward into 2022 and the rest of the season, are you looking forward to this season, and are you looking to finish some more top threes this year?
Yeah, that's the game plan. Try to keep consistent, keep it clean, and run top 5 for sure, if I can. And I'm looking forward to, I think next week, I think Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, and that should be a good one too. So yeah, no, it should be a good season for sure.
Absolutely, Andrew. Now, before I let you go here tonight, before you head out, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to give a shout out to?
I guess obviously my wife for allowing me to do this a couple nights a week, and having lots of patience, and then of course my teammates Kevin and Andrew, and then we work very, very close with BPS Motorsports, and that's Doug, Eric, and Randall Barnett as well. So yeah, a good bunch of guys to work with, and I have a lot of fun doing this, and it's there's a nice camaraderie there. So yeah, no, a lot of fun, and those are the guys that definitely, and yourself, and for broadcasting, and obviously Daniel for hosting this. So yeah, a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew, for coming out here and having a chat with me. Have a good night,
No
and congratulations on your third place finish.
Thank you. Take care.
You do as well. Alrighty, folks, that was Andrew Corr out of the booth, taking home third place for tonight for the Daytona 100. Coming up in second place, Doug Soames in the number 67. Doug, sir, do you have a read?
Yes, I do.
Doug, you had quite a fantastic race, both in the start and at the finish, quite unexpectedly, well, we'll all admit here. But at the start of the race, you were looking very promising. You were holding second for quite some time, and eventually you kind of found yourself a little bit towards the middle of the field, but that didn't put you out of the count. You managed to work your way back up and hang out with the guys in the front of the pack, and managed to take home second place. Doug, how are you feeling going into 2022, having a second place finish under your belt?
Awesome. In my first pole as well. So going into this season, I said at the end of last season when I finished fourth, I said, yeah, this year I'm getting a trophy.
Absolutely. Now, Doug, you mentioned a trophy. Now, this is a brand new season, and now that you're starting things off on a really strong foot, does that give you a lot of confidence going forward that you'll be able to continue that trend and be able to pull off some top fives or even top three?
Oh yeah, I'm even going for a win this season.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, Doug. Well, Doug, before I let you go here tonight and celebrate further, is there anyone at home, anyone watching that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out tonight?
Well, I'd like to thank my wife for putting up with me doing this week in and week out.
Absolutely.
And also, I'd like to thank Andrew Pratt for my paint job there, and the whole Twisted team for all working together. We all work well, and we race good.
Absolutely, yeah. You guys all race fantastic week in and week out. I always look forward to these races with you guys. You guys are very, very solid drivers. Doug, thank you for coming out here and having a chat with me in the booth before you head out tonight. I look forward to seeing you in future races, and hopefully we get to have a similar conversation again in the future.
I look forward to it too, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Doug. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, folks. Doug Solms out of the booth. Our final driver of the night, our race winner, Justin McMahon, in the number 20. Up next in the booth, Justin, sir, do you have a read?
Yes, sir.
Justin, you are having quite the race yourself here tonight. I've been quite excited to talk to you here because you found yourself in first place after the lead drivers decided to all come down pit road about, I think it was like lap 28 or so, somewhere about halfway. And you were able to find yourself leading the race with, I believe it was Jeff Martin in second place right on your tail. All of this developing forward, and then Eric Peck coming out of nowhere to try and take the lead from you, and then crashing into first place. What's kind of going through your head right now, Justin? That was wild from start to finish.
Oh man, well it's 90% luck, right, and 10% skill. I wasn't sure what was going to happen there. I thought once I saw him coming like a freight train on the outside, I thought I was done. I didn't want to try to block him too much. I kind of moved up a little bit, but it was a little too late. I didn't want to cause a wreck, and then I think I got into the 75 just a little bit, and I thought we were going to cause the big one there, so I apologize for getting into him. And then once was it the 61 or the 51 there, got back by me and moved down to the bottom line. I figured, all right, well, that's going to be about it. I'm going to be boxed in. I'm not going to be able to make a move for the win, so I figured I'd just give him a push to maybe give him a chance to win it. And then the seas parted ways when they got into it, and I was just holding my breath, hoping that I didn't get taken out on the way through. So it was a good win.
Absolutely, yeah. To end the race in fashion, that was definitely unexpected here in the booth. I was honestly on the edge of my seat. The final lap there, that was definitely very entertaining to watch, both from my perspective and I hope from everyone else's perspective. But Justin, I have one more question here before I let you go here, and before I let you give your shout outs and all that. Going forward into the rest of the season, having come out strong here tonight, even with the great finish that we had here tonight, what is your expectations for the rest of the season, and what are sort of your goals for this season going into 2022?
I don't know, just be consistent and try to, finish in the top 5, top 10 every week, and try not to get wrecked out, and try to get some points for the team and myself. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, Justin, thank you for coming out here and talking with me in the booth. Before I let you go and celebrate your first place finish here tonight, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast that you want to give a shout out to or thank before you head out?
Yeah, Nick, my brother at home watching. I think my cousin Tyler's watching it, and Daniel Wilkerson for picking me up this year for being on the team. Him and Eddie recruited me. Southern Motorsports. So I'm glad to be a part of their team this year. Unfortunately, I think Daniel got involved in that wreck on the last caution there, finished in the back. But BMF Auto, and I think that's it. Precision Graphics for doing my paint scheme.
Awesome, Justin. Again, thank you for coming out here and talking with me in the booth tonight, and congratulations on your first place finish here for the first race of the season. Justin, have a great night, and I will see you in the future races.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a good one. Alrighty, folks. That is Justin McMahon, your race winner, out of the booth. That is going to wrap up our post-race interviews for tonight. I hope everyone has enjoyed what they have seen here tonight. Things were a little bit kind of on the fly here in the booth. I wasn't expecting to have to deal with things that I had to do, but, you know, that's just the nature of this job sometimes. So, with that in mind and with that out of the way, I hope everyone has enjoyed the race tonight. I hope everyone is looking forward to the rest of this season here with Doghouse Racing for the Next Gen Cup Thursday night series for the first season of 2022. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you tonight's action. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next week.
Driver Carrington gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out.